listening to Country Living Conversations. Here's your hosts, Anthony and Candace.
What's up, guys? This is Country Living Conversations. Today is our first podcast on our new show.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing. I'm Anthony.
I'm Candace.
And we started this podcast to tell you about our lifestyle change and maybe even how to do stuff in the upcoming time we plan to do all this. So I'm just rambling on right now. But so yeah, I'm Anthony. This is Candace. We started homesteading. What'd you say?
Well, this kind of thing, starting a homestead, starting to work towards being self-sufficient, growing our own food, taking care of ourselves as much as possible, working for ourselves. This is something that we've talked about for years.
Yeah.
But we did not take this particularly seriously until the last couple of years. We're recording this in June of 2024.
Yeah.
And we're recording it from our home on the homestead.
Right.
And we're still in the beginning stages of our journey for that, of building this life, literally building things, that's planning, all of that stuff. And we seriously considered starting this kind of a lifestyle in 2020.
Right.
For obvious reasons.
As well as most people started considering that around that time.
Yeah.
Because the thing happened.
The C word.
BC.
Yes. Cotton candy. No, not cotton candy.
But yeah, so that was about, we came here in, was October 2021?
October 2021. We had some family land that we were able to move on to. And it's 30 acres total. There's still a lot of work until we could utilize a good portion of that.
Exactly.
But yeah, we moved here October 1st, 2021.
Yeah.
Our daughter was just a little over a year old at that time. And but we didn't really get started on the actual homestead side of anything until after the new year of 2022.
Right.
I would say. So October 21, we moved in, and there was some immediate renovations that we wanted to do to the house that we're in currently.
Right.
And
to make it a better living situation.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That took up a lot of time.
Ripped up carpets, tore down walls, put down new floors, took down a platform that served as kind of the dining area of the shared space of the house. Basically total overhaul of a lot of stuff, but we're not done yet. So it's a process.
It's always a process.
Yeah,
but
one thing at a time.
Inflation and stuff happened, so we had to put a hold on some stuff. Well, anyway, the purpose of this podcast will probably be to tell you about how we do things, and also try to teach other people how to do stuff as well, because the more we learn, we want to teach other people how to do stuff, because it's just, we feel it's beneficial. Yes.
And I think it also, it's encouraging when you hear other people that are just like you, but have, learned or found resources or, have had success in moving towards a lifestyle like this one, or the goal that we have to be more self-sufficient, to be, to live off the land, to take care of ourselves and not rely on outside resources for everything. Because that's what we have found. We found other people. We don't know them all personally, but we have found other people that were in almost the exact same boat for one reason or another. Maybe they were rattled in one way or another because of supply chain issues.
Right.
And
exactly.
they bought all of their food from a store And when they weren't able to, they're like, well, we don't want that to happen again. A lot of people we found for health reasons, they wanted to grow their own food. And now, because of less preservatives or less allergens or whatever, that's what they did.
And the scary thing, the more you look into this stuff, I don't want to say scary it is, but you see a lot concerning things you see in food. A lot of the food stuff you see, what they put in the food and what you don't want to be eating.
Yeah.
But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah, that's another. That'll be another episode.
Right.
And I look forward to that episode because I think it'd be interesting.
So, I guess we can go into how, what we want to talk about for this episode about our basically introductions on stuff, like how we met and stuff. I don't remember any of that, so I'm going to let her take it. No, I was playing.
You actually remember that stuff pretty good, so don't do that to yourself. Well, so who are we?
I don't know.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I've got 2 kids that look just like you.
Oh, 2 kids.
Yeah,
Speaking of that, if we happen to stop the podcast or you see it stop all of a sudden, one of
those 2
kids
children
have started. He's 3 months old right now.
Yeah.
So if we suddenly
He's sleeping.
if the audio just cuts to something or video just cuts to something, that's what happened.
That's what happened.
So we met in school. It was middle school. Was it middle school? Yeah.
Sure.
I would say middle school.
It was long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I think it was
yeah, I think it was.
I was 11.
Yeah. So
You were 13.
13, yeah. We were 11 and 13. We went to private school together, and I think it was within the first year I started going there. You were already going there, and we started dating then, and waited a little bit before we got married, of course.
I should hope so.
Well, yeah. Obviously, we didn't get married at 11 and 13, but what I'm saying is we got married 17 years ago. We now have a daughter.
See, he remembers.
A daughter and now a son, 3 months old. The daughter, Amarissa, is she's almost 4. She'll be 4 in July. And but yeah, we've been together that long, and I think it's been enough,
Sorry.
But no, you want to take over?
Sure. Well, yeah, we've been married almost 17 years. Grew up together. And have 2 beautiful children. If we have more, that'd be cool. Especially with the life that we live now. One of the reasons we wanted to do this is we didn't want the children we have to also be in that mindset. It's like, well, if the stores don't have it,
Right.
I guess we have to
want
suffer.
them to be subjugated to the ramifications of shutdowns and stuff like that. We want to be.
No, I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to take care of myself. And that, that was a big concerning thing too.
That's kind of what sparked the interest of doing all this was our daughter was born in 2020. But we were obviously looking into this way before that. I need to look at the camera. I keep forgetting to look at the camera. We have notes we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
But we'll get better at this as we go. But we wanted to kind of, we started looking at this before she was born, a little bit before she was born, watching YouTube videos, learning all we could about stuff. And we really grew an interest in it. And when 2020 hit, it was a real eye opener. But and
it's not, and I don't even want to be like that was the only reason that we did this.
Yeah.
I think that if the C word had never come about, we would have probably done this anyway.
True.
It just might not have happened as soon.
Right.
I can tell you that it's not easy to start a lifestyle like this one when you have a toddler, a newborn, but then again, people have been doing this forever, this type of life.
Exactly, yeah.
It used to be the norm.
Yeah. And
I see more and more people going back to that, and I think it's actually really exciting. But neither of us actually comes from a family that fully embraced a self-sufficient lifestyle.
No.
So I'm excited to, as we share our trial and error and victories and defeats and in this stuff that, you know, we don't come from a background of farmers.
Right.
Now, I mean, I grew up in the country, and my grandfather had this amazing garden that had corn as high as the sky, snaps, watermelons, tomatoes of every kind, cucumbers. And one of the most fun things I remember from my childhood was going into the garden with him and getting all this stuff and preparing it.
Right.
We did have chickens for a short time when I was a kid, and we had rabbits, but those were more like pets. They just multiplied and multiplied. We didn't do anything with them. But neither of us comes from a lifestyle of, all your eggs come from your chickens.
Right.
All your produce comes from the backyard or from your land. You know how to slaughter your own chickens, your own pigs. All the meat in your freezer, you grew it yourself.
Right.
Like, neither of us comes from a background like that.
I do computer technology stuff, so that is like complete out of the norm for me.
Yes.
To do all that stuff.
Yes.
So,
and I still don't know how to make fried chicken. I'm not that. I was not raised to be that type of woman. I love that kind of thing. It's just that's not. My mom doesn't cook. She can, but she doesn't. It was always my dad that did all the cooking at home, and it was fun. But at the same time, it was not that. Mom's biscuits and. Everything my mom has cooked come from a box, but you would not know that because it all tastes great because it was still made with love.
Right.
So I'm not doubting my mom. She's probably watching and listening to this. She's the best. But again, neither of us comes from that type of lifestyle, but it is something that the more we've practiced, the more we've learned, why go back?
Right.
When I know, and I'll probably say this a million times as we record this, and I'll probably say it even in this episode. There is nothing like going to your freezer and taking out a whole chicken that you raised, that you fed, that you slaughtered and put into pieces or whatever, and being able to prepare that chicken, or whatever animal it is. Not just only chicken.
Or an abundance of eggs.
Yes.
The taste alone is completely different in the store. Oh, gosh.
You crack one store-bought egg next to a farm-raised egg, or organic or whatever you want to call it, free-range egg, fresh, especially one fresh out your backyard, especially if they laid it somewhere you didn't mean for them to.
Lay it everywhere, all over the yard.
And you crack one right next to the other in a pan, and you immediately tell the difference. If you were blindfolded, you could taste the difference.
Right, exactly.
And I remember, and we are currently working back to having, eggs like that again. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. I can't tell you, like, when we had to go back to buying store-bought eggs, how sick that made me feel.
Right. It just wasn't the same, but we still currently have to do that because... so let's go into that. I guess it's the chickens. So
our what the steps we have taken so far.
Yeah. So the first when we first got here in October, we really didn't do anything as far as homesteading lifestyle except for fixing up the house. But
I think I bought a ton of seeds.
Maybe
a
ton of seeds.
Yeah.
But we didn't do anything with them because it was October. So
yeah. Well, yeah.
But we started to think about doing chickens and stuff like that. So we did a lot of research on what type of chickens to get. Do we want dual purpose or single purpose?
Just for eggs, just for meat. Right. Both. What breed is best? Where do you buy them from? We were looking into all of that.
Did a YouTube video, we didn't do YouTube videos at the time, but we thought about, we looked through the YouTube videos of, ideas and tutorials and the best known stuff.
And I'm so grateful that we live in a time where that kind of thing is so readily available and basically for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Because thankfully there's been other people that have shared their experiences or their knowledge, and they're not you don't necessarily have to buy their book to get that or something. Which we have, and I love it. But if you want to know how to do almost anything, the information is out there.
Right.
And continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
You're fine. Well, you can go on with the chickens.
Well, we got chickens first,
Mhm.
and as they say, it is the gateway.
Yeah, gateway.
It is the gateway
Gateways.
to all things farming, homesteading, whatever. And so we got our first. Oh man,
I can't remember exactly.
Okay, so in like February of 2022, we got our first shipment of baby chicks.
Was it that? Was it
I
that
think
early?
it was February.
I think it was a little.
Yeah.
I think it was a little early. I mean, later though, because February is still cold, and
I think it was February.
because they. I
We
think
could look it up.
Anyway,
But they were the first thing that we got.
first thing we got was chicks.
Yeah, and it's so funny because where we live, the zip code where we live, is. Let me back up. They were shipped to the post office nearest us in our zip code.
Right.
But my dumb self sent. I'm like, oh, my thought was the nearest post office to us.
Mm.
We went to the post office.
Yeah.
And ended up accidentally picking up someone else's chicks.
The post office gave us the wrong chicks.
Yeah.
So,
and we were so excited.
not the wrong chicks. They assumed they were ours because there were chicks there.
Because there were chicks there, and it wasn't like it was the only shipment there.
Right.
And we brought it home and then looked at the box, like, wait a minute, this is not ours.
We even opened the box and like, these are not the right chicks. These are not the right number of chicks.
Yeah, it's like there's something not right. And we looked up, it's to someone else. So we immediately went back to the post office. And I believe that the person who they belonged to was pulling up at the same time because they walked out with a box like shortly after we left.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait.
But they were fine.
No, nothing.
Actually, none
like
of them were dead in the box.
No, it was good.
Yeah, they were fine.
No harm done.
And
so we're like, wait, duh, they're at a different post office in our zip code, and there is only one. From what now, as vast as the county is where we live,
yeah,
as far as I know, there's only one.
I think so.
One post office
and zip code. Zip code, yeah.
You'll learn those kinds of things if you get into.
Don't make our mistakes.
Yeah, be mindful. Like, which post office did you send it to?
We were excited to get them, so
excited. Took pictures and everything. Like, had my hat on, looked great. I'm like, look at these chicks, and our daughter was so excited about it, and like, because she was just over a year old.
They were chirping down the road.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. Get home. Wait a minute. We'd already had brooders set up in the house.
Right.
We had two. Yeah,
we didn't have, this one room we had wasn't renovated yet, so we were going to kind of demolish everything to get it done, get it fixed up.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a couple of totes and put, I think we got some.
It was 2 plastic, like big.
Rubbermaid like totes.
Yeah.
And we put
I couldn't tell you how many
lamps in them.
they are.
You can't remember. I can't remember what they were.
Mm-mm.
But
big.
We got one for egg layers and one for meat birds.
Mm-hmm.
And we put them in that room. It got so dusty in there,
guys.
It
was
so bad.
Because there was still carpet in that room.
Yeah, it was bad.
And I mean, it didn't get horrible, but it did, because we put down pine shavings.
Yes.
And then a little feeder for water, heat lamp, to point down on it, or the one that they could go up under, and we could talk about which ones we liked better for that kind of stuff, and then of course a place for food. And as they moved around and kicked around, dust happened everywhere. We brought them, and so again, we were about to put those in. We took those back to the post office safely and then brought ours home.
Yeah.
And so, we had one for what we were going to raise for eggs.
Right.
And then the other that we were going to raise for meat. Now, the chickens that we chose at that time, we felt would be good dual purpose for either of those. We chose white Plymouth Rock.
Right. Those were our egg layers.
Yes. And for the meat birds, we chose dark Cornish cross.
Right.
I chose the white Plymouth Rock because we're in the middle of the woods, and if they were free range, we could see them better. I'm like, there they are. Let's, like, oh, they're laying eggs over here, or something like that. And the dark Cornish cross also were decent for laying eggs.
Yeah.
They but we were like, well, they were like a dark brown,
So
multicolored. The roosters ended up having like a green sheen in some of their tail feathers.
So the Cornish cross, dark
Cornish cross.
Um,
Dark Cornish. I'm sorry.
yeah, dark Cornish. We didn't actually feed them as much as you're supposed to feed a meat bird.
Mm-hmm.
We fed them on a schedule. We usually did. We didn't at first time. This is the first time we were doing chickens,
we were new to this.
we didn't feed them all like constantly.
Yeah,
we fed them daily on a schedule,
mm-hmm.
which I'm seeing our mistake in that beginning time.
Mm-hmm.
You need to.
And it's dark.
Okay. Well, we'll keep going. I'm sorry. Turn it off.
Okay.
A little more intimate.
Oh.
But no, we
could be spooky. Could
Spooky,
be really heartfelt. We'll find out.
For people on just watching the podcast,
Yeah, you have no idea what
the light
happened.
just kind of turned off on our round light. But anyway, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, the meat birds.
Before we get too far with that,
Yeah,
we still raised the White Plymouth Rock. We forgot to mention that you had built coops for these.
Yeah, I built the Siskovich chicken tractors.
So.
I got plans for them online. I can't remember exactly where I got them, but
it's the kind that like Joel Salatin uses. I think
he used bigger ones, but Justin Rhodes used them.
Justin Rhodes uses them.
But anyway, I built 2 of those, and we were going to use those for that. Which we don't really have a lot of grass. We mostly have leaves and dirt.
And clay.
Yeah, and clay. We're in Central Virginia, so not giving you too many details where we are, but so we're in that area. So we kind of live on a hill, a little bit, not a hill, but a slope. Yeah,
the main area that we utilize for the animals is on a slight
decline.
Decline. I guess it depends on what area you live in.
I guess so.
And when we moved here, it was all leaves.
Basically all leaves. Also, most of our land is forest.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot of room to roll the tractors around in, but we're working on clearing a lot of that out for more acreage of pasture and stuff like that, which takes some time. Which, speaking of time, I'm not sure how long we have left until he wakes up.
Well, we will keep going until he wakes up.
Anyway.
It's okay.
So we built those and we put them in there. Now the dark Cornish, like I said, they took a little longer to grow out to full size because again we didn't feed them enough. They got fed, but they just didn't get a lot like eat all the time, which you want to do with a meat bird. But
this we got another shipment of chicks not super long after that. I want to say that following summer.
I think so.
That were strictly meat birds.
Right.
And those were the Cornish cross.
I think they were jumbo Cornish cross.
Jumbo Cornish cross.
Right.
And Lord, those things are ugly.
Yeah,
and I don't,
ugly.
Like I ain't devaluing them or whatever, but one we bought, it was like 50.
I can't
or
remember.
25.
Maybe
of them,
25.
Like 25 of them, because we're like, these are strictly meat birds.
Right.
Let's see how that goes.
And those did a little better. Not a little bit. They did good.
Yeah, they are bred specifically to be meat birds. Right. They are not intended to live super long. But we had them 2 months?
Something like that. 2 months. 2 months or 3 months. You're really supposed to only have them for like 8 weeks, 2 months.
Yeah, ideally.
But go with what your gut a little bit. You can grow them out to how big you want, but you got to make sure they don't have a heart attack and die.
Indeed.
But that's another story. We haven't had that happen, but that's just another topic. But yeah, so we did those. Now, like she was saying, those are our gateway. gateways to other animals and stuff on your homestead.
If you start to think, I'll just get a chicken, or I'll get a couple of chickens.
Right.
That is almost always the beginning for the mindset of, well, maybe
I'll get a few more of this and that.
More chickens. Or what about pigs? What about a couple of pigs?
So leading up to that, okay, so I can't remember exactly when.
I want to say April of 2022.
So we didn't have anything set up for pigs and stuff like that. We happened to run across a post because on Facebook we have a lot of posts where, not a lot of pages we're subscribed to that, do homesteading and other stuff.
That encourage it, or it's a community of people talking about the things they're looking for, the things they're building, the goals they have. And we found that really encouraging. And
we found this gentleman near us that was selling piglets. And it was a really, really good deal. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for them, but he was really close. And
they were purebred Berkshire
piglets.
And one thing, because again, we were like, well, what if, we raised pigs, and we had looked into the different breeds that are out there, and we're not only sold on this one type, but the pigs that we currently raise are 100% Berkshire breed, and we chose those. You could probably elaborate on why we chose those.
Just the meat quality and stuff like that, and
they're more docile.
They're
not aggressive,
stuff like that. But so what I'm getting at is like the chickens are gateways. So, we didn't have anything set up for pigs, so we were like, this is such a good deal. We need to jump on this, and
if we don't do it now,
we might not ever do it.
And isn't that the goal?
But we kind of got over our head a little bit, and we bought the piglets. And that weekend, I think I started building like a little pen for them out of pallets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They were really little. I built them a shelter, pallet pen, all deep bedding and stuff like that. And they lived in there until they were, I want to say, probably 200 pounds, something like each. It was a
male and a female.
Male and female.
And they were from the same litter, I believe.
No, they were different litters.
Oh, gotcha.
They were different litters. Okay. Because we didn't want to mix. Sure. We didn't want to mix them.
Sure.
And I think he was a little older than she was.
Yeah, like
or
a
something
week,
like a couple weeks.
Like not super far apart.
Right. And they lived in there for about until they were like 200-ish pounds. He was an uncut boar, so we went into this thinking we want to breed pigs for meat, and then also breeders. So we did that, and she's had 2 litters now,
at least 2.
And I think she's working on a third
we
pretty
suspect
soon.
strongly.
Strongly suspect. But we haven't actually gone out there and physically studied her.
No, and that's another thing that we plan to have more routine with, or and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I remember we got in the truck and we had this kennel that was really designed more for like a cat or a dog, but it was big.
No, it's a big size kennel.
It's big. And we go to this guy's farm. It's not even like 15 minutes away. And to pick up a male, an uncut male and a female so that we could breed them.
Right.
And like you said, some of their offspring for meat, some of them for further breeding, more pigs later. And I just found it encouraging that he was not like, oh, well, no, I'm not going to sell you one. So that we would only come back to him for meat pigs or whatever. No, and he's like, yeah, that's great.
He was very encouraging.
That. Even sent us home with free meat.
Right. He gave us some meat for
And he was like, well, because this is kind of what you'll expect, or you can come back to me for these.
And it was very encouraging to go there and see his setup too, to see, oh, we can do this and do this to, better work on stuff.
And he doesn't live in the middle of nowhere.
No.
Like we kind of do. he was off very close to a major highway and still had like, oh, well, there's a farm that it's nothing fancy, but it,
Right.
you know, it's built this way and it's got this and it's got that. And it's like, not that we could do it immediately, but we could do this.
Exactly.
You know, and that's one thing I want to convey with these podcasts. If you want to do it, try.
Right.
If you want to do it bad enough, you can do it.
Exactly. You just be sitting and stewing about it for so long.
Yes.
Just try it and see what happens.
If it doesn't work out, at least you know that you tried.
Exactly.
And then we've had that same issue with a lot of things in our life together.
Yeah,
and well, I'm sure we'll
story.
talk about that. But it's, you know, and I don't think they meant anything by it. But when we first really started taking this seriously, we were both working full-time for a local tech company. And when we first moved here.
Yeah.
And I remember we were telling people, so yeah, we're getting chickens and we're going to raise them.
And people look at you weird.
And they're like, you can't do that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why not? Why can't I do that? Why can't I, you know, raise chickens in my backyard for eggs and for meat and learn how to slaughter them myself and
Right.
Send them to freezer camp?
People tell you,
they say.
yeah, people tell you it's a lot of work. Yes, it is.
It is, but
you know,
okay, you know, so
you gotta think about the end game.
Yeah, and you might not realize how much of that you enjoy.
Exactly.
It's yes, it's hard work, but do you know how cool it is to actually go out and get your own eggs every day?
Exactly.
Especially when you have more than you know what to do
Right.
with. Where you got to like, please, someone take these eggs because they're going to go bad before I can get to them. Or I remember a couple years ago for Thanksgiving, there was a family gathering at my younger sister's house, and she was planning to make a chicken dish, but she didn't have a chicken. I'm like,
we got
it. And how cool it was to be like, here is literally a whole chicken. You just need to cut it up, and there you go. And I'm getting a little sidetracked from there. I'm sorry, but yeah, chickens are the gateway, and then we moved to we had the pigs and the female piglet and the male piglet. I mean, I don't mean that they were little. They were like, what, every bit of 20-something pounds, maybe.
Something like that. I think they were like...
And they hate to be handled.
Yeah, they really hate to be handled.
Really, you know,
I think they were like maybe 4 weeks old.
something like that. Old enough to leave the care of their
Right,
mother.
yeah.
And
they were weaned.
Yes,
them,
weaned.
So.
Thank you. I'm a nursing mother. I should know that then. But put them in the back of the truck, brought them home. And there was a space under the house, a safe space for them to stay in,
right?
For like the day,
yeah, it was like
until it was like
a day and a half. We put food, we put some straw in there,
yeah,
and yeah, after I got the pen built pretty quickly, got some gates put on there, and it turned out really well.
Yeah.
So,
and I guess lastly, for the purpose of this episode, and for the purpose of time, I guess the only other thing that we would briefly discuss is the non-meat food aspect. I need to get back in the camera. Hi, it's not just the disembodied voice speaking to you. That's a different podcast. But no, like when we moved here, I was so excited because there was land here where I could potentially grow almost anything that I wanted. And maybe I shouldn't say this, but I know when I say that, half the people listening to this is like, were you going to grow pot? I don't care anything about growing pot. And everyone I know that does it, because it's legal now in the Commonwealth of Virginia, everyone I know that does it talks about how difficult it is. I have literally zero interest in that. If you want to, I feel ridiculous for even saying this because it's just kind of silly. So if you want to, cool. That's not what I'm about. I'm not pro or anti. That is just not for me. But it sounds like it's more problem than it's worth. But I could grow tomatoes, cucumbers, corn, peppers of every kind, green and red, that all come from the same plant. Some people don't believe that. Or whatever I want to grow.
Right.
And I remember, I think the first Christmas that we spent here, I bought like $50 worth of seeds
Yeah.
online, and it was meant for a gift for you. But then I'm like, but I want to plant these. I want to plant these.
That's
So,
mostly our Christmases now. Hey, what
yes.
can we buy for the family or the
Yeah.
homestead?
Or even something to encourage each
Right.
other, like, some of these books.
Yeah, exactly.
Or tools, seeds, some kind of something like that. To encourage, it's like, oh, this will help with that,
Right?
Or this, oh, this is inspiring of things that we could do. And in the first year, I had some success with cucumbers and tomatoes, and it was great because some of the seeds I got were actually given to me by a friend, and it was especially all the weird tomatoes, tomatoes I'd never heard of, that orange and yellow tomato, purple tomatoes,
right?
And we can get into all that in another time. But like, again, you got chickens at the gateway, and then we're raising pigs now, and it's too late now to do it. But I've had a little success with some of the grow lights that I've set up in our laundry room, with lavender, strawberries, a bunch of different flowers, sage, tomatoes and cucumbers, and half of those are growing outside right now, either in the ground or in a big planter.
And we'll go larger as
sure.
Because like I said, a lot of our area is woods, and we're clearing it off. Actually, the pigs are clearing it off for us.
And I'm excited to talk about that.
But we'll get into that another time. But yeah, we hope to kind of clear it off and make more of a pasture and more of area to do stuff with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess lastly, brief overview. Another whole point of moving here was to work for ourselves in one way or another. Whether it's just growing our own food, so we don't have to be so self-sufficient, so reliant on outside sources, the store,
right,
or whatever, a conventional grocery store.
And we're working up to that as we,
And another side of this is doing or making things here on the property, on the homestead, that gain us an income of our own. And we, long before we ever moved here, we were making candles on the side. And, it's something that we are working towards building. So, getting the word out there for it, finding things that people like, and, finding what works best for us with the products for that. And so now currently we offer candles in different scents and vessels, colors, wax melts, soaps. Oh, I love the soaps.
Soaps are so great.
It's so great. They're so great. Canceled. And some hand sewn goods like scrunchies and bags and whatever. And I'm excited to see more of the woodworking stuff that's
coming down the line. But I'm more. It's on the not on the back burner, I say, but it's more like
on the list.
It's on the list to start doing more woodworking stuff and promoting that a little bit. But I have so many projects, you guys. It's not even funny.
It's true.
It's
true.
When you live in a homestead, it's like, oh, I don't have this project now. Oh, but I have this other project.
Yes, there's always something to do.
Right.
And if there isn't, you're not doing it right.
Right.
I think so. And so I'm excited to share more detail about these different things that we've talked about. The chickens, the pigs, the garden. And another the candles, the soaps, the business side of some of this stuff. And we're going to be homeschooling. Yeah. These little spawn that look just like you. I carried them, but they're your children, clearly.
What can I say?
And everyone says so. I say so. But homeschooling, learning to cook all of our own favorite dishes from the things that we've grown. Right. Building our home the way we want it to be. Right. And rather than just paying someone else to do it. Right. I've seen you be able to do so much of this
Well,
stuff all on your own. I married a very smart, self-sufficient man.
Well, we're both
You know,
learning together as we
we
go.
are.
It's a group effort. You are one.
That's exactly right.
But yeah.
Choose wisely, ladies. Choose wisely.
But yeah, I guess that's going to wrap up this episode.
I think so. Thanks for staying asleep, son.
This episode. But you can find us on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook.
We are on TikTok too.
I don't have TikTok. She has TikTok.
There's not much happening on that
But
right now.
we also have a website, foreverhomestead.com. You can go on there. You can even shop candles. And soaps are on there too. We don't have any soap right here because we
our mugs.
Mugs.
The hot liquid is not hot anymore, but when it is, you can see our logo on it.
Yep.
It looked like that. If you can see it.
For the people that are watching,
if you're
you can
listening,
see.
you have no idea.
You have no idea what
about.
we're looking at right now.
Sorry.
But yeah, you can find our soaps, candles on there. Anything we're selling is probably going to be on the website. We hope to eventually, I'm going into rambling now, we hope to eventually sell meat, but that's another avenue we have to, get
and we'll
into.
get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there. Again, it's one of those things, it's like, if you want to bad enough, you can. Because you'd be surprised that there's plenty of people around you doing exactly what you want to be doing.
Right.
And have found a way. Raising your own food, selling the food that you've raised,
right,
and becoming more self-sufficient. If you take nothing else from what we talk about in these episodes, is that if you want to do it, you can do it.
Right.
Or at least be encouraged that you should try.
You're going to fail. Okay?
Absolutely.
You're going to
not completely.
You're not completely. But you're going to fail at some things. But that's how you grow. That's how you you learn. You know? So we kind of hope to convey that on YouTube videos coming up and podcasts. We fail.
We've had
but we learn.
Many different failures.
We learn from our failures as we go.
Yeah.
And we hope to teach other people how not to fail.
Yeah.
But find your own way.
Learn from our mistakes as you do this.
Exactly.
And because that's what we've done. We've looked into what some others have shared and seen. It's like, well, okay, so as we do this, let's not do that.
Right.
Because they said that didn't work for them. Or just or different options, different things that work for different people.
Right.
Of course, with some of this, there are some prerequisites. It's like, well, if you want to raise chickens, you have to have a little bit of space to raise chickens. If you want to raise pigs, you have to have a little space to do that. But past that, try.
Yeah, try.
Try. Or, get involved. All right, so you live in the city. There's no chance. He's waking. Yeah. There's no chance of you getting land. Okay, well, but probably not far from you, there are people raising the meat that you would prefer to have, not just you would prefer to have, and get involved. We'll talk about it.
But yeah, I appreciate everybody listening and watching the podcast. Please, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like.
And wherever you are listening to this podcast, because it will probably be on more than just YouTube.
A lot of podcast places. But yeah, I appreciate everybody watching and listening. Comment down below or leave a message or even shoot us a message on our website if you like.
Please do. We'd like to hear from you. And I see no reason why there won't be more audience participation opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe even talking to other people that have been down some of the same roads that we plan to take. Farming, animal husbandry, homeschooling.
Yep.
Putting up with these rotten children, all that stuff, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for more. Yeah. I'm excited to get into it with you.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Well, until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.